Good afternoon and welcome to the Crypto Market News Desk. I'm your host, Dickie Armour, and in this show, I'm going to start with a correction on an Alibaba story. I'm going to talk about the South government corrupt officials that have been insider trading. I'm going to talk about Tom Lee and what he thinks Bitcoin's going to be worth at the end of this year. Going to talk about the New York Stock Exchange owners and what they're up to. I'm going to talk about how the big institutional investor money is coming into the market. I'm going to share with you my top 8 favorite cryptocurrencies. And I'm also going to talk about next week's show. All that on today's show. So, correction to the early Alibaba story that I brought to you on this show a couple of days ago. Alibaba has come out with an official statement saying they are not going to be setting up a cryptocurrency mining platform. The P2P node is a different kind of peer-to-peer sharing on the Alibaba platform, but nothing to do with cryptocurrencies. So I just wanted to cover that off now. So South Korea, oh my goodness, it gets more mixed up as the week goes on. Not only are the citizens petitioning government trying to stop them from banning cryptocurrencies, but it turns out that some of the South Korean government officials themselves have been playing in the markets, and in fact, because they knew what potentially was going to be happening, they were buying and selling and selling and buying cryptos behind the scenes. Tut tut. Now it's interesting because were they really insider trading? Because of course this is a decentralized marketplace and it is unregulated really as we speak. So if there is no regulation, is there really insider trading? And Coinbase last year, or in fact earlier this year, came out with an announcement they were going to be trading Bitcoin Cash on their exchange, and some of their employees also started buying Bitcoin Cash, and they were accused of insider trading. Again, how's anyone ever going to be brought to book when there is no regulation? So South Korean government doesn't quite know how it's going to deal with these dodgy government officials, so we'll have to wait and see what happens. But yeah, it just shows you, even in South Korea where they're trying to ban it, even the government officials are buying cryptocurrencies. That made me giggle. And Tom Lee, I've talked about him before. He's a big supporter of Bitcoin. He's come out yesterday saying that he thinks the price of Bitcoin will hit $25,000 by the end of 2018. And he says these market dips are just that, they're market dips, and we should be buying in at the lows on those market dips. He thinks anything down at about $9,000 for Bitcoin is where we should be buying it. Now, in fact, we may have missed that because Bitcoin's already bounced over the last 48 hours. So, and it's over $12,000. So I think we've probably missed that one. But he still reckons even at $12,000, Bitcoin is worth buying because he thinks it's going to more than double to $25,000 by the end of this year. Now, as ever, I am not a financial advisor. I'm not giving you financial advice on this show. I'm merely bringing you information and opinion, which is mine mainly. So that's Tom Lee, that's what he thinks. And the New York Stock Exchange, interesting, and this is all about what I'm talking about in a minute. The institutions are coming, they are bringing their money into this marketplace. The New York Stock Exchange owners are launching a cryptocurrency data feed for all of Wall Street and Wall Street's clients so they can keep an eye on the prices of the cryptocurrencies. Intercontinental Exchange, the company that owns the New York Stock Exchange, is going to be launching this feed, and it means I think they're going to be feeding into getting the feed from about 15 different cryptocurrency exchanges. So it means that a lot of the institutional firms in Wall Street, rather than having to use CoinMarketCap and CoinCheckup like we do and other market price websites, they're going to be able to use their own preferred Wall Street instruments to keep an eye on the cryptocurrency markets. What does that mean? They're going to want to get more involved, in my opinion. So watch this space. And on that note, the big institutional investor money is coming this year, 2018. So Goldman Sachs, it was announced back in, I think it was the 21st of December, that Goldman Sachs were going to be setting up a cryptocurrency trading desk. Goldman Sachs, one of the biggest investment firms in the world, so they're going to be playing in the cryptocurrency space. I think that's due to set up around about June this year. So less than 5 months away, Goldman Sachs will be playing in the cryptocurrency space. And Morgan Stanley have announced that they are going to be clearing Bitcoin futures for their clients. So we've got the likes of JP Morgan on one side, Jamie Dimon saying he can't stand Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, even though he's admitted more recently that cryptocurrencies are probably here to stay, and certainly blockchain is a good thing. So he's changed his stance big time. And Goldman Sachs are playing in the market. You know, there's Bitcoin futures, the futures and ETFs are coming this year as well. We've got Goldman Sachs playing and we've got Morgan Stanley playing. So the big institutions, without any doubt, are coming into the market over the coming months. So that can only mean one thing. As this bigger money comes into the marketplace, there's going to be more money being spread across the different cryptocurrencies. I think this is really, really exciting news. As ever, I'm not a financial advisor and I'm not giving you financial advice, but if you were to put money on cryptocurrencies, do not bet the bank, do not go into debt, do not take out a loan, do not use your credit cards and go into debt on your credit cards. Use money that you've got and only use risk capital. Now here's an interesting fact. There was an article in the Financial Times written by Merrin Somerset Webb, I think her name is, talking about why investing in Bitcoin would have been a bad thing. And she talks about some smaller company funds. She talks about some tracker funds. And this kind of, I found it very amusing because she gave two examples of how £1, how it would have performed if you'd invested £1 in 1955, what that would have been worth now, and if you'd invested £1 over that same period of time in a FTSE tracker fund, what that would be worth. Well, guess what? If you'd invested £1 in Bitcoin in 2011, 7 years ago today, on the 19th of January 2011, if you had invested just £1 in Bitcoin, you would have been able to buy 3.7 Bitcoin. And 3.7 Bitcoin today, 7 years later, would be worth over £31,000. So £1 would have netted you £31,000 7 years later. Not a bad return. Why is it bad to invest in Bitcoin? I don't know. Now, I've no idea what £1 invested today would return over the next 7 years' time. Watch this space and I'll bring you news on that in 7 years' time. Check out the show in January the 19th, 2025, and I'll bring you the news. Hey, I'm hoping to have sold this show to Bloomberg by then. Anyway, the final piece today, my favorite 8 coins. A lot of people have been asking me what they should be putting their money in. Now, I'm not telling you to put these money in these coins, but people have asked me, what cryptos do you think are going to be good in 2018? I have no idea. I am not a clairvoyant. I don't have a crystal ball. I can't see into the future. But these are 8 coins that I personally love. I'm not invested in all of them. I will, for full disclosure, explain which ones I do have holdings in. But here we go. I'm going to whistle through these. I'm not going to explain too much about them. I'll go into the individual ones in more detail in future shows. But number 1, Bitcoin. Love Bitcoin. Bitcoin's got the biggest brand in the market. The man and woman on the street that's never heard about cryptocurrencies, when they first hear about cryptos, they hear about Bitcoin. So they're going to go and buy Bitcoin. And in fact, if you go onto the main exchange in America and in England, which is where I'm based, Coinbase is by far the most used exchange. And you can only buy 4 cryptos on there anyway, of which Bitcoin is one. So Bitcoin, I love. I hold Bitcoin. Number 2, Ripple. I hold Ripple as well. Absolutely love Ripple. And Stellar Lumens as well is number 3. So Ripple is number 2. Stellar Lumens is number 3. Ripple and Stellar, both very similar, aimed at banks and big institutions to help them transfer money between other institutions and other banks far more quickly and easily and more cheaply as well. So that's why I like those. In at number 4, this one I'm not invested in yet, but it's called 0x. And the market mnemonic is ZRX. Now this one's interesting. I didn't know that James Altucher, I'm a massive fan of James Altucher. I've read lots of his books. I listened to some of his podcasts, but I didn't know that he was running an advisory cryptocurrency online newsletter. And he emails his subscribers to let them know what cryptocurrencies he and his team thinks you should buy. Their first recommendation was 0x. So go and check out 0x. It's a peer-to-peer exchange, making it easier to exchange currencies peer-to-peer. I think that's going to be quite an interesting one, and I think I will be buying that at some point in the future. The other one, Simple Token. Love Simple Token. Now again, for full disclosure, my mate Thomas Power is one of the advisors. It was one of the co-founders, and the CEO is Jason Goldberg. And I've been looking at this mainly because of Thomas. Again, I am not invested in this one yet, but I will be investing in it. OST is the mnemonic, and it looks really, really, really interesting. It's an easy way for you, a brand, to set up your own cryptocurrency without having to jump through all the ICO hoops. So I think that one's interesting. And then, of course, the last 3, Ethereum, the main stock Ethereum, which was set up by Vitalik Buterin. Absolutely got to have that. It's an absolute winner in the whole blockchain space. And Ethereum Classic, I mentioned that on a previous episode this week. Ethereum Classic is having a sidechain kind of hard fork, and it is creating a side chain called Callisto, which is going to be CLO, and for every 1 Ethereum Classic you hold, you're going to get 1 CLO. That's going to happen around very early March, the first week in March. So I think it's worth holding Ethereum Classic so that you get your share of CLO. And last but by no means least, NEO, N-E-O, NEO, which is the Chinese Ethereum equivalent. Massive market in China. They're throwing a lot of money into NEO. I hold NEO myself, and also, just for full disclosure, I hold Ethereum Classic and Ethereum. So I'm not telling you to go and buy any of these. Go and do your own research, go and do your own due diligence. But they are 8 coins that I'm really interested right now, many of which I already hold, and the 2 that I am going to be buying soon are ZRX and OST. So that's it for this show. Now next week, I want to talk quickly about next week's show. I bring you news every day, but on 2 of the shows next week, I am going to be bringing you information and some explanations on all of this cryptocurrency psychobabble. How do you what does it all mean? The language of cryptocurrencies. And I'm going to be doing a show by special request. A lot of people have been emailing in asking me to explain how they start to buy cryptocurrencies. How do they invest? How do they even know what exchanges to use? And where do you need to go to buy? If you can only buy 4 of the cryptos on Coinbase, which is Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, and Bitcoin Cash, how do you go and buy Ripple and Stellar Lumens and 0x and all these other cryptocurrencies? Where do you need to go to buy those? So I'm going to be doing a show about that. Now, again, it's not going to be that technical, because I'm not that technical. And there's loads of exchanges out there. There's 20 plus exchanges. And I don't use all of them. I only use 4 or 5 exchanges. So it's only the stuff that I do. Doesn't mean it's the right way to do it, but it certainly works for me. So I'm going to be sharing some of that on some shows, probably the later part of next week. So that's it. That's a wrap for this week. What a turbulent time. Up and down, up and down. The cryptocurrency market never ceases to amaze and interest me. Hence me setting up this crypto market news desk in the first place. So as ever, if you want to get in touch, if you've got any questions, if you've got any cryptocurrencies that you want me to cover and give you some more background information, then email me news@cryptomarketnewsdesk.com, news@cryptomarketnewsdesk.com, and I'll try and get back to you. I'll certainly reply to every single email, and I'll try and get back to you as soon as I can. In fact, I had a question overnight about USI Tech. So if you're watching this, the person that asked me the question will remain nameless. I did a previous show. I will email you. I haven't replied to you yet. I will email you after today's show airs, and I will explain, and I'll send you the link to the episode where I talked about USI Tech. My view, well, don't get involved. It's gone, whatever the word is. I was going to use a rude word then. USI Tech, I don't think is going to trade for much longer. So don't touch it with a barge pole would be my advice. So that's it. I look forward to seeing you all next week on Monday at 2 o'clock. Until then, thank you so much for watching. I'm your host, Dickie Armour from Bristol in the UK. I'll see you all next week. Have a great weekend.